So today we're at the lovely Orchard Place Farm Fishery in Tunbridge, Kent, and today we're on Lake 6, which is a sort of little horseshoe type lake. It's got 2 or 3 islands spotted around. So today we're going to fish a bit of bread and lead. So I've picked a nice spot on the end of the spit here where we can fish to the island and hopefully nick some fish off of that. So the kit that we're going to use today, guys, we'll start off with the rod and reel, Superior Rex in a 10 foot, a Centris in a 520. It's only a little rod, but I still like a big size reel. Paired up with a reel, we've got 8-pound sinking feeder mono, and to be honest, it doesn't come any simpler than the rig. So we've got a little 3/4 ounce Preston cube bomb there, just on a little snap swivel, down to a rubber stop, a quick change bead just for ease of changing hook lengths if we need to. And the only reason I've got this little rubber stop here is, if you see when your lead runs down, just helps kick your hook length just a little bit further away from the lead. I just think that stops tangles. Onto the business end, 017 power line. You've got a great big ball of bread. The fish are not looking at the line. We've got a 12 kkm hook. Again, no need to go small. They're looking at a big ball of bread that they're just gonna scoff. So we don't need to go small on the hook. No point messing around. Some big fish in here. So that is really as simple as it gets for bomb and bread fishing. Okay, so we're just into the session now, about 3rd cast in. Missed a bite first chuck, big line of the 2nd chuck, and this is the 3rd chuck. So we have just had a little indication, so hopefully we will get one this go. Obviously we're keeping it really simple. We've started a bit short of the island, and as the session goes on, hopefully we'll work our way up towards that island and pick off a few fish all day. We might find that we need to go left and right a little bit of our spots and just nick a fish here, nick a fish there. But slowly but surely we should be able to build sensible weight on the day. And have a little indication there. Little drop back, is she on? There she is. Doesn't feel like a massive fish, but it's always nice to get first fish in the bag. Not been here for a long while, but I know used to be lots of F1s in here, and they've taken a few out and they've put a few smaller carp back in, so we're not really sure what we're going to catch yet. Doesn't feel like a bad fish actually. Try and make sure we get him in. Always nice to get the first one of the day in the bag. Where are you going? Might be bigger than I thought, this one. Didn't feel very big when we first hooked him. I know there is an odd, very big fish in here, so it might be latched into one of those. As I say, it's the middle of winter, so every bite counts, so there's no need to really rip his head off. Oh yeah, he's not bad ones. Oh! Come on, baby. Well, what a lovely start to the day. Must be 7 or 8 pound of common carp. Let's see if he's going to let me hold him up so you guys can see. There he is. How's that for a first bite of the day? Right, let's see if we can get another one. So we're a couple of hours into the session now, and to be honest, we started short of the island and we had odd bites. We worked our way up towards the island as the bites tailed off, and then we had a really good spell where I caught probably 4 or 5 in as many chucks tight to the island. But the last 40 minutes or so, we had a few chucks in the same spot against the island with no bites or indications. So we've had to start sort of exploring the island a little bit. And at the moment we're chucking off the island round to this right hand side, and just managed to get a bite there. And he's trying to go under the inside of the bank here. But what I'm hoping is by resting the line where we did have a really good spell earlier, we can hopefully go back to that in a little while after nicking an odd fish in other spots, and hopefully have a good run there. But the only thing I can say is when you have got an island like this, just make sure you explore every inch of it, because you might just find 2 or 3 fish sitting in a little hole together. Then once you've caught those 2 or 3, you need to move on to the next little patch. Let's get him unhooked. He's unhooked himself. Get rid of that. So yeah, as I say, make sure you explore every bit of the island, and if all else fails, it's always worth just chucking into open water. You might find that the fish have got themselves all shoaled up in the middle of the lake somewhere, often the widest part of the lake, and sometimes just plopping a little bit of bread in there, you'll find another run of fish. But it's all about exploring, because you're only fishing with a hook bait. You've got no feed or anything out there, so the fish are not going to come to you. You need to go to them. Let's just load that up and plop it back out. What I have done though is I've left the original line clip on, because I do want to go back to that spot that was good. Because as I say, quite often you'll go back there and you'll have another little spell. The other thing that's also really noticeable at the moment is the bite times have slowed right down. When it was good, we were going out 2 to 3 minutes, we were getting a bite. Now it's more sort of 6 to 7 minutes before we get a bite. So that's another important thing to keep an eye on during the match. Also what we've done, as the bites have dried up, we've also changed hook lengths. So I've got, what I normally start on is an 8-inch hook length. And, oh look, that's the quickest indication we've had for a while there. So yeah, as I was saying, I've got 2 hook lengths on the go. One's a standard 8-inch hook length, and that's almost always my go-to. I might chop that down to about 6 inches if I need to. The other hook length I'm using is a 12-inch hook length, but what I do with this is I put 2 number 8 stots on. This holds the bread down, and I put them 2 to 3 inches away from the hook, and that just pops your bread up 2 to 3 inches rather than the 6 to 8 inches that you would be using with your standard hook length. So hook bait wise today, we've used the biggest Preston Innovations punch. I think that's a 10 or 12 mil disc, and we're using 3 of those. What I like to do is punch them out, each disc out individually, because it leaves the bread nice and fluffy. I find if you punch 3 bits in a row, then when you push them out, they come out compressed. Another indication then, there is odd fish kicking around out there. So it's just a case of keeping an eye out for indications, so you know that there is odd fish still out there. It's been really noticeable today as well. The fish are not pulling the rod right in. All the bites have been tiny little positive indications, but not pulling the rod right in. I'm sure I've struck at a couple where it's been a liner rather than a proper bite. As I say, we'll give this 6 or 7 minutes, and then we'll reel it in, and we'll plop it in a different spot, and we'll just keep searching the peg. If we do get a bite, we'll plop it back into the same spot and look for another one. Again, if you don't get a bite at that chuck or the chuck after, pick a different spot and start again. But always the spot where you find you do have a few bites from, always rest it and always go back and have a look, because there must be a reason why the fish are congregated there in the first place. It might just be that catching a few's, spread them out, and after half hour, 40 minutes, you might find they come back to that same spot. So we've had a real quiet spell for the last 35, 40 minutes. We've done a little live video and bits and pieces, just couldn't get any bites, odd indication. Just at the end of the video, we decided to have a go on the spot that we'd rested. Had 1 chuck, 1 indication. Next chuck was out there for 3 minutes, and round it went. So it just goes to show that those fish do congregate back into the little holes and spots where they were sitting after giving them a rest. Feels like another good fish actually. So what we'll do, next chuck we'll go straight back into the same little hole where we had this one, and see if we can nick off another couple of fish, and then we might find we have to rest it, try our other lines again, just to keep bites coming. But it's all about exploring the peg, finding the fish, because when they're as big as this, it doesn't take long to get a good weight. Ten or 12 of those in a match on a cold winter's day. And I guarantee you'll be there or thereabouts. Let's see if he'll let us hold him up. There you go. They're the ones that you want to be catching. Let's get back out into that other little spot again. See if we can nick another quick fish. So again, as I said earlier, I had 2 hook lengths on the go. One 8-inch that we start on, and then a 12-inch one there that I use for exploring, that's also got some stots on to pop the bread off just off the bottom. But because we did have such a good run on this first hook length, that's the one I've gone back to now. Still three discs of the largest punch on there. Let's get that back out. See if that'll go round again. Let's reset the stopwatch. Again, timing bites, really important. Just so you know when your bites are coming and how long you've waited. Sometimes you feel like you've sat there for 3 minutes and it's been 10, or vice versa. So just to sum up the day really, key things for bomb and bread. Pick out some little spots when you get to your peg. Work your way from the deeper water up to the shallow water. Search out those spots. If you do have a spot that's noticeably better than the rest, always look to rest that spot. Have a little go in the others. Wait for the fish to congregate back there. And then go back to that little spot and try and nick some more fish. Well, there you go. That's the third fish in as many casts in that little spot we started on that was really good. And can't think of any better way to end the day than on a little run of fish. So we'll get this one in and we'll call it a day. Feels like another good fish actually. Just goes to show what a simple but effective tactic bread and bomb can be. As I say, if you get it right on the right day, you can have a lovely day's fishing. Another lovely looking common. There he is. See if he'll let us hold him up for the camera. Liveliest one of the day. So there you go. Keep it simple. Ring the changes. Make sure you're fishing in different positions, different spots, and always look to head back to that position spot that's really good. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Preston Innovations YouTube channel.